Let's go. Geeks are tuning in. We are here with the magician himself, John Dodson. It's me and Goosey signing in. John, how are you doing?
I'm doing amazing. Just chilling, relaxing, just enjoying the day and just talking to you guys.
If you didn't see John Dodson, BKFC debut, this is a legend. I mean, talking about a tough champion right here. John Dodson, is such a pleasure to have you on, bro. Thank you so much. We're gonna start talking about, what just happened, bro. You just had like a 40-second knockout with like three knockdowns against a former UFC also, fighter in BKFC. That must have been awesome. How was that all?
I felt amazing because Ryan Benoit just came out of the UFC. They fed him to a wolf and myself, but they expected me to go ahead and be tested with Ryan Benoit, and he sat there, tried to do his best to go ahead and take on the onslaught barrage of punches, and he just couldn't match up. The BKFC kept on saying that this is going to be fight of the night and this and that, but I just showed that performance of the night and annihilated him.
Oh yeah. So obviously first fight in the bare-knuckle boxing. Did you do anything different in training than you would have in MMA in the build up to that?
Absolutely not. The only thing I changed up is being able to spar with my shoes on so I can get more comfortable with them. Reminding myself that it's only just throwing hands. So everybody that I was sitting there sparring with, we kept on doing mix it up in MMA rounds. And I would go ahead and make sure I can keep up the general distance. No kicking it was involved for me, but I allowed my training partners to throw their kicks or knees just so it made it more realistic for me. When we sat there tying up in the clinch, I kept on tossing people, making sure that we can go ahead and do those things. And I can go ahead and throw a little bit variety of punches that they haven't seen, but also I was like trying to prepare myself for.
Yeah, no, and one thing I was hearing in your interviews leading up to it was you can't expect just a clean boxing match because it's not a clean boxing match. It's a bare knuckle fight is what I heard you say. Can you really elaborate on, what the difference between that clean boxing fight and that brawl that we're talking about is?
You're right, right? You say bar fight.
I wanted to.
But nah, like bare knuckle is a whole different type of animal. Like you got to make sure that you can understand that it's boxing within MMA range. So people who constantly think that boxing is going to go ahead and have people slip into jabs, being in there, be able to block with high counters, and then be able to maneuver after they receive a punch. This isn't that type of thing. Well, bare knuckle is first person to get hit, first person to actually evade. And the common sense of actually think about this, you got to combine these two sports, as in boxing and point fighting karate. And I know that just sounds completely odd, but in point fighting, you gotta make sure that you go in and get your secure points, land the cleaner strikes, and then be out of the way of harm. So when we're doing, that's what my mentality of going into this is. By using just my hands, I'm gonna make sure I can go ahead and land the cleaner strikes and be using more of my footwork to allow me to push the pace and keep the action going.
Oh yeah. And then your brother was fighting on the same card before you. I have a younger brother. How were the nerves before that one compared to your fight?
Man, my nerves were straight through the roof. My belly, it was like all worry. I was sitting there freaking out because if that dude would have dropped my brother, I would have killed him. I know it's like bad to say, but now I was like, you hit my brother. I'm gonna be fighting twice tonight. But no, like I was worried because it's an unpredictable animal. Like with me, I know I can control myself, and that's the only thing I can really control. But seeing my brother have to coach him and have to lead it up to my own fight, I got to make sure I give him the confidence, give him the energy, give him the vibe. Like, hey, we got this. We're gonna go out there. We're gonna murder. It's like nobody can stop us. And I was trying to keep calm and keep my emotions under control without going berserk too much. Because if I would have lost it, he would have lost it. And then both of us feed off of each other's energy. And he knew. I was like, all right, well, I'm ready. He's like, you ready? I was like, hell yeah, let's go. And we went on and did our thing. Then he pointed at me as soon as he got his knockout. He's like, yeah, all you got is 23 seconds. Like, all right, cool, got you. I can beat that.
Let's go.
I mean, you almost beat him. I mean, it just happened to be that your opponent kept getting up. That just how
Yeah,
that's.
mine would just have more balls to stand up every time.
So after that bare knuckle fight, I mean, how are the hands feeling? Was that like a crazy thing to move into, or did you do any knuckle conditioning in particular? Or
Now I didn't know knuckle conditioning. People keep on asking that question as if that was going to be like the majority of the factor. Like I'm used to fighting with 4-ounce gloves, and not only that, I constantly I find my rhythm. I punch in the bags all the time, bare knuckle. So it's not really anything different, not a real change for me. Like there's no real trying to prepare to go ahead and sit there, and I'm not hitting like what's those macchiato boards or like those knuckle conditioning boards that they're constantly hitting in karate. I was trying to get out of that phase. I want to make sure that I can go ahead and be more accurate, land a few shots, and if not, I need to carry out my head strikes to body counts and being able to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then fighting in front of the hometown crowd. You obviously the co-main, but it kind of felt like you were the people's main event of the card. How was the atmosphere going into the squared circle?
Man, going into the square circle was amazing because I got to go ahead and represent just the full life that has brought into me through fighting. Like Mexico is just all about a fight town, and they just wanted to see their heroes go out there and do the exact same thing. And I wanted to make sure I could represent and inspire them to keep on doing more things, more great things, because people constantly have bad things going on, and they just don't appreciate the little things that we have.
Mm-hmm.
Facts. And so, after such a big performance like that, the BKFC probably has big plans for you, I would imagine, in the future. They like to, bring in other legends and do all this kinds of stuff. What are you looking forward to doing? Are you going to stay in the BKFC? I've heard that you wanted to go back into MMA. You wanted to kind of be like a versatile type. What's your plans for what you're doing next?
Sorry, there was a bug there. Uh, my plans on moving forward is that I'm going to go ahead and secure the title at 125 in BKFC and any other organization. I'm making sure that I can go ahead and make my journey for me ending my road. I know that sounds kind of weird, but I want to secure a 125 title and to continue on taking them on afterwards. So people want to keep on asking me if I go to 35s, 45s. I want to do it with the 125 division first and make sure I can go ahead and finish that and accomplish those goals. I started mouthing off way too quickly in the UFC, and then what happened is that they just sent me through a ringer of tough opponents at 135 because I was on a murderous road with all the great guys that I had to go through. I never got an easy fight. And so now, since I got booted, I'm going to go ahead and keep on being on another murderous road, securing this 125 title.
Yeah, no, that was something I was talking about with CEO before we got on here. Like pound for pound, you might have the hardest schedule I've ever seen out of any MMA fighter. Is that something you take pride in, or is it kind of like, what the hell, man? Like,
it's something I take very pride in because of the fact that I can always look back and tell people like, hey, there was no such thing as an easy road for me. And all the guys who sit there and sugarcoat it and be like, oh man, you suck, you did this, you didn't perform. I was like, yeah, it's kind of hard to perform when everybody you fight is at the top of their game. They're the elite of the elite. And it's not going to be like the most amazing fight every single time. Like we're making minimal effort, minimal movements, hitting the right amount of strikes and landing the perfect blows all the time. But it has to be within our range. Like, of course, I can go out there and look phenomenal against Joe Smo, but that's what the UFC and the fans want to see. But as an athlete, I want to go ahead and test my true skill, and my level of competition has to bring it out of me.
Gotcha. And I feel like people are talking about the 135 strap at BKFC just because isn't there a little bit of history there with the champion?
Of course, me and Johnny Bedford had already tussled once before, and I've already come out victorious. And if it comes to just hands, we already know who has the cleaner hands, and it's going to be mine. But if I go up to 135, I don't know what that's going to play out to be because of the fact that he hasn't fought for a while. They've already had 2 interim title fights, and it might be looking like he's going to vacate that title. Like you can't force a man to fight a guy that he already beat up again, but it doesn't make it sound anything that I want to go do. Like I'm not going to go sit there and overstep these guys who've already been securing their spot to fight for that title, and for me to leap over them, it's kind of disrespect. And I don't want to disrespect nobody in the sport. All I want to keep on earning my respect by knocking people out.
Speaking of guys that you've already beat before, we've got guys like TJ Dillashaw who are fighting soon. He's got that big matchup coming up. Do you have any kind of prediction for that one?
I think TJ Dillashaw is actually going to go ahead and stomp out Aljo Sterling. I know that sounds like as if I forgive TJ Dillashaw for being a juicer, but he's going to go out there and he's going to be the superior athlete between the two of them. Like TJ's hands are going to be a lot cleaner, even though Aljamain Sterling has phenomenal wrestling and takedown ability. TJ is a phenomenal wrestler as well, and the fact that he can actually mix up the strikes and mix those two combinations together. Aljamain Sterling is going to have to figure out something other than just kicking him with low kicks and doing these fancy things and diving for attacks. That's going to lead into him getting knocked out. So if he can secure TJ's back, he might be able to go ahead and secure a victory. But how this is going to turn out, it's not Pierre Sterling that he just fought. TJ is a well-versed wrestler first, and then became a world-class striker second. So I don't see that in going in Aljamain Sterling's like favor at all.
Oh yeah. And then another opponent, obviously two legends fought this past weekend. You saw DJ getting the win Friday night, you getting the win Saturday night. Was that something you were looking at and sort of gaining a little bit of confidence from, just two studs of the game getting after it?
You know what? I don't really care about that. I like the fact that DJ did win because of the fact that he is, in my opinion, one of the greatest of all times. He is the GOAT as of right now. He's the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in mixed martial arts and whoever done it. He's so creative, being able to be well-versed in the sport and how he can go ahead and string in combinations with jiu-jitsu, striking, and wrestling and kind of perfectly blend them in. Like this level of creativity that he just displayed on Friday night is that he went out there, finished his opponent, knowing that this was going to be the last strike to go ahead and end the fight the same way that he got finished. And if that doesn't tell you how amazing and how much difficulty that is, man, like that's just everybody's bucket list. Like, hey, if I got finished a certain way, I want to be able to dominate my opponent the exact same way. And he did it. So.
Yeah, literally so remarkable. I mean, I was watching that and he was, debatably losing on the scorecards. And that matchup's really tough because that guy is really big. And
he is big, and then everyone continues keeps on saying that it's because of the fact that he's a 35er, and since 35s now possess a new home app over at ONE FC because everybody who goes in at 125 they're now straw weights and stuff like that. But he is coming in fighting at his natural weight, making sure that he doesn't have to really cut that much weight and beating up these guys who have to make that tremendous force. Like DJ's been sitting there doing so well at 35s before the when he was in the WC and before the UFC, and he's just still continuing on being a smart athlete to keep on doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Going off about that weight cut and all that, how did it feel getting back to 125? Did it kind of feel like you were back home?
Oh, it felt exactly like I was back home. Like going back down to 125 is a place I want to be. I felt amazing. It's been a long time since I actually made 125. I was actually my daughter's birthday was the last time, which is today.
Oh, there we go. Happy birthday there.
Like when my daughter was born was the last time I actually made 125. So like 8 years ago when she was brought into the world is when I had to go ahead and deal with it.
Nice.
That's craziness. So speaking of like promotions like one championship and like, Bellator, are these promotions that you're definitely interested in, or are you just kind of looking to what's up with that?
I want to go wherever that I need to go to showcase my true ability until the time is up for me. I'm in a race against Father Time right now, and it's a losing battle because time is something I can never defeat. I just want to get as many fights in as possible and secure the fact that my own legacy is at risk. I want to go out there and be more of a legend and keep adding to who I am, and having my name cemented in the stars before it ever get washed away in the sands.
Yeah. So did you sign like a multi-fight deal with BKFC, or was it like a one-off so you can keep doing everything else?
No, BKFC gives me opportunity to go ahead and do whatever I want, but we are in negotiations to go ahead and put me in a multi-fight contract with them. We did sign one, and then they didn't really like it because they know that I was going to be this of an amazing athlete. So, and then now we're coming back and saying, hey, you guys should have signed that deal before. Now we got to go ahead and turn it up.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you go out, do what you did Saturday. You get a little bit of negotiation room there for sure. Going back, I was looking through your resume. One of the things that stuck out to me was the Ultimate Fighter. They say that's the toughest tournament in sports. What was your experience on that, and how did winning that really propel your career?
I don't think it was the toughest tournament in the world, but it was the greatest prison I've ever been in.
Damn.
I sat there, I got whatever food I wanted. They gave me time to rest, give me workouts. I literally think of it as summer camp because I didn't get to use my phone at all, no TV, no real distractions. I got to focus on training, eating, and meeting new people. And going out there, having to fight them and throw hands with them is pretty much what everybody dreams about doing at summer camp anyways. Just beating up random people and then going home and tell your friends about it.
Mhm.
And winning that whole experience was the most amazing thing because of the fact now I'm always submitted in the time being the first ever bantamweight champion at and the Ultimate Fighter.
Let's go. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Can't erase that. That'll be forever, man. That's freaking legendary. And that's why I think they're gonna find you a big fight. I mean, did you see like Diego Sanchez has been lurking around, other big names? I mean, obviously, weight class is different, but I mean, there's just all these big names have just been coming to the BKFC. I feel like they're gonna have no problem finding you a major opponent, whether it's a guy coming from another promotion or not. I mean, with the MVP thing, it seems like Bellator and BKFC kind of buddy.
Yeah, like I hope so. We'll see what's gonna happen on the back end, and no one actually really knows what's gonna happen. I really just want to see what the opportunity is gonna happen, come out of it, what names that they can pull out, and I just want to have a quick turnaround fight. Like I'm trying to go ahead and fight. I'm being a heavy advocate to fight on that Denver card with Paige Van Zandt and Christine Sagala, and that'd be kind of interesting to see.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
gonna be a big one.
Definitely. So I was going through your Instagram a little bit. I see you like anime. What's your favorite anime?
My
Yeah.
favorite anime of all time is Yu Yu Hakusho, and the second is Bleach, and then third, Full Metal Alchemist. But not Brotherhood because Brotherhood was that weird ass whack one. Go back to the original one.
Respect. And does anime influence your fight style at all? Because you pull off some of the craziest moves I've ever seen.
Anime and video games are the things that help me be as creative as I want to be in fighting. Because a lot of my style, already as it is geared towards Brian Fury.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you mentioned video games, and actually growing up, you playing as you in a video game really got me into the MMA scene because my parents weren't a huge fan of me watching MMA. They thought it was pretty brutal, but me and my friends would play video games, and the UFC demo had just came out, and you and DJ were the two options on the demo, and I would always pick you and play as you. And so it's really coming full circle being able to talk to you now. So I appreciate just all you've done for this sport, man.
Thank you, man. I actually really appreciate that. Because I actually remember that demo and people kept on, they had me literally fighting me as DJ. And I was like, why do I have to play as DJ? They're like, that's you. And I was like, I hate you guys so much. Because I remember doing that at the Fan Expo. They had me go ahead and play as Demetrius Johnson and have me getting beat up. And I was like, this is horrible.
That's phenomenal. Well, man, thank you. We appreciate your time, man. I can't wait to see the turnaround you make. Is there any like kind of call outs that you've got, like any names you want to spew or any shout outs you want to make before we get out of here?
I got nobody I want to go ahead and call out because there's nobody really in BKFC that's going to be a potential threat to me. Everybody's been calling me out already, and they already know who's the number one fighter in the division for BKFC. It's going to be me. And then I want to give a special shout out to the Paletta Bar, Nobody's Villain, Mad Kingdom, Dynamic Management, because they're the ones who keep on getting me all these great fights and find me all these great sponsorships. And lastly but not least, I like to thank my family and tell my daughter happy birthday. I have to go pick her up here in like 5 minutes. so because I got to go ahead and blow up a bunch of balloons and get her ready for a jump park.
Let's go. Well, thank you for coming on. Happy birthday to your daughter, and best of luck going forward. It's been a pleasure to talk to you.
Oh man, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate talking to you guys as well.
Let's go. That's the magician, John Dodson. We're the Geeks, and we're out.